Why are the symbols on the money in your pocket there? Why do world leaders meet in secret meetings, in rooms without windows? Were the greatest wars in history really fought for ideologies, or were they all part of a pre-written script? Are your choices as free as you think? Or has someone already decided for you before you even had a chance to think? Today, we reveal the great truth that has been ripped from the dusty shelves of history, covered in blood and oaths. From the Knights Templar to the Freemasons, we decipher that invisible hand within the shadows. Do you truly want to know? Then we open the door. The events that history books tell us are only the visible tip of the iceberg. Kings are crowned, empires fall, and wars are declared. But what if all of this is the plan of a hand that took secret oaths in dimly lit rooms? Today we set out in pursuit of that great secret that has been whispered for 1,000 years. Welcome to the dark journey of secret societies that changed the course of history, extending from the Holy Lands to the skyscrapers of the modern world. The truth is hidden much deeper than you think. It all began in the year 1118, when 9 poor knights gathered in Jerusalem. Their mission was to protect pilgrims, but they found something among the ruins of the Temple of Solomon. Whatever they found, it soon transformed them into the richest and most powerful organization in Europe. They were not just warriors. They were the first bankers of history. They lent money to kings, crossed borders, and became a power independent even from the Vatican. But such great power brought with it terrible jealousy. On the morning of Friday, October 13th, 1307, by order of King Philip the Fair of France, all the knights were arrested overnight. Under torture, they were forced to confess and were burned at the stake. But the story did not end there. Some claim that the knights went underground with holy relics and a great treasure. Did the Knights Templar truly disappear, or did they just change their name? Centuries after the knights went underground, a new structure began to rise in Europe: the Freemasons. Initially known only as a guild of stonemasons building cathedrals, these guilds soon transformed into secret lodges where Enlightenment thinkers, scientists, and politicians gathered. Symbolism is the language of Freemasonry. The square, the compass, and the all-seeing eye. These symbols represented not just architecture, but the desire to rebuild the world. From the American Declaration of Independence to the French Revolution, nearly every great social upheaval is said to bear the signature of these lodges. Figures like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Voltaire were part of this sworn brotherhood. Freemasonry was a secret intellectual army that shook the absolute power of kings. In 1776, the Illuminati, founded by Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria, represented the extreme point of this secret hierarchy. Their goal was to completely overthrow the authority of religions and monarchies. According to official records, the Illuminati was quickly disbanded. But according to conspiracy theorists, they survived by infiltrating the Masonic lodges. Today, we trace their signs everywhere, from the pyramid on the dollar bill to clips in popular culture. The New World Order, a one-world government and mind control. Did the Knights Templars' banking system transform into today's global financial networks? Are the decisions made in those lodges back then being made today in the boardrooms of giant tech companies? Throughout history, the existence of these societies has always been denied or dismissed. Perhaps their greatest achievement is convincing the world that they no longer exist. Does this chain, stretching from the Knights Templar to the Freemasons,
truly manage humanity's destiny like a chessboard?
In 1785, when the Bavarian government officially banned the Illuminati, the world thought this structure had been lost to the dusty pages of history. But this was not an end. It was the beginning of the greatest invisibility operation history has ever seen. Adam Weishaupt and his followers understood that the best way to protect a structure was to make it appear as if it no longer existed. True power decided to live no longer in public squares, but behind other identities. According to conspiracy theorists, the Illuminati, following this strategy, infiltrated the depths of the most established and respected organization in Europe, the Masonic lodges. That noble mask of Freemasonry, brotherhood, and enlightenment became a perfect shield for the Illuminati's vision of overthrowing authority and ruling the world with a single hand. It is claimed that the decisions made at the Congress of Wilhelmsbad in 1782 were the foundation of the strategic merger of these two structures. That day, in those dimly lit rooms, not just a friendship was formed. A secret alliance that would change the fate of the world was sealed. Today, the roots of the concept known as the New World Order, Novus Ordo Seclorum, lie precisely in this merger. This is not just a political system. It is a colossal and invisible architecture that covers every area of human life, from economy to education, from religion to technology. In the modern world, we no longer need to search dusty archives to trace this structure. It is right in the center of our lives today. So, what are the modern tools of this silent war? Projects like MK-Ultra, conducted by the CIA in the 1950s and now proven by documents, were essentially the modern laboratory outputs of the social engineering methods that these societies had been working on for centuries. Those who used drugs and heavy psychological methods to break individuals back then are doing the same thing today with algorithms, social media echo chambers, and subliminal messages. Mind control is no longer an experiment. It is a mass operation conducted through the manufactured fears presented to us on the screens we swipe every day. On the economic front, the situation is even more striking. The letters of credit invented by the Knights Templar evolved into the modern financial system that drags the world into a spiral of debt. The fact that central banks, which hold the power to print money, do not fully account to any state is the transfer of sovereignty from the people to an anonymous consortium. This debt-based system is a much more polished version of medieval slavery, carried out in air-conditioned offices and decorated with credit cards. People are no longer tied to the land, but to the numbers in their bank accounts and the invisible masters who control those numbers. The most dangerous infiltration is the one made into the human soul. The goal of overthrowing authority did not stop at overthrowing kings. It also targeted every kind of spiritual fortress where people could take refuge. The remaining void was then filled with a pop culture religion based on consumption. Those triangles and one-eye symbols we see in every clip and every major event are actually declarations of belonging. It is the engraving of the message, "We are here, we see everything, and we rule you," into our consciousness with an artistic aesthetic. Throughout history, the existence of these societies has always been denied, dismissed, or labeled as crazy conspiracy theories. But it must not be forgotten that the greatest revolutions and wars in history were always planned in rooms too dim for the public to see, on a single map laid out on a table. The role of the Masonic lodges becomes critical here. These structures have served as a talent pool that brings together the most ambitious minds of the world, and the decisions that shaped the course of history were made in these silent corridors. In conclusion, does this 1,000-year chain, stretching from the Knights Templar to today's technocratic elites, truly manage humanity's destiny like a script? If every crisis is an opportunity and a new order, Ordo ab chao, emerges after every chaos, this cannot be a coincidence. Perhaps the truth is much closer than we think, sitting on the screen of the phone in our pocket or on the banknote in our wallet. But we refuse to look. Remember, where there is light, there is shadow, and where there is a secret, there is always a watcher. And that watcher is just waiting for the right moment to make its move.